Thank you. And we do bid you welcome to the Dean Martin Show. Isn't that pretty? This is an 80-year-old bottle of Porto wine, and it has had a lovely, long, and wonderful life, and I think the time has come for it to get out into the world and to spend itself. Our first guest today is an authority on Porto wine, and he carefully poured the wine out of this bottle into this decanter, and we'll meet him right after I have greeted and served the panel on To Tell the Truth.
Bill Cullen. Peggy Cass. Orson Bean. And Kitty Carlisle.
I tell you, this is the way to start a show, isn't it?
Wow, I should say so. That cheers a girl up, mercy.
You'll find that not only do you have that fine Porto that I gave you, but in front of you are other examples of Porto, a glass of white and a glass of tawny.
May we taste it now?
Taste it all, live, enjoy. Because that stuff is worth $35 a bottle.
Wow.
All three of them? Oh.
I don't know about the other two, but the bottle that I held up, the Porto that I served you, is worth $35 per bottle.
More than penicillin.
Do a lot for you. All right, a toast, ladies and gentlemen. Here is to our first contestant. Let's meet him now.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is João de Brito Cunha.
Number two.
My name is João de Brito e Cunha.
Number three.
My name is João de Brito Cunha.
And I might tell you that the two imposters we purposely kept away from the wine because I wouldn't ask anybody to say João de Brito e Cunha if it had any booze, right? So here is his uncorked message. It goes as follows. I, João de Brito e Cunha, am an authority on the most famous of all wines, Porto. As perhaps many of you know, Porto is made from grapes that are grown in Portugal's Douro Valley and nowhere else. It is a product not only of the grapes, but of an unduplicated soil and climate, which together give the wine its incomparable stature and unmatchable character. Aging is the ingredient that gives it its nobility. As director of the Porto Wine Institute, I am responsible for maintaining the high quality of all kinds of Porto: white, full, ruby, tawny, crusted, and that most exalted and ancient of wines, real vintage Porto. I hope you will try some regularly. As a famous monk once remarked, Porto is the key which will open up the heart and liberate thought. Signed, João de Brito e Cunha. That was obviously a Jesuit who made that statement.
Good man, good man.
Now, before we start fiddling around with the wine here, let's listen to a few stout words. Keep in mind that each of these distinguished gentlemen claims to be João de Brito e Cunha, director of the Porto Wine Institute. And we'll start the questioning with a man who takes any port by storm.
Yes.
Oh, Bill Cullen.
I must say to the other two, congratulations on the way you said that name because it was beautiful. Number three, may I ask, what is the difference between port and Madeira?
Oh, no, that's my question.
Well, as the name says, Porto is produced in Portugal.
And Madeira?
And Madeira in Portugal too, but in the island of Madeira.
Number one, this port is 1890, which makes it 80 years old thereabouts, give or take a taping. What is the oldest port now in existence, number one, that still is considered a good premium port?
About 1840.
Is that obtainable, number one, 1840?
In Gaia, in Oporto, yes.
Number two, how old must port be before you drink it in order to be good? How old can the youngest port be? Let's put it that way, number two.
I would say 4 years old.
Number three, how is...
Oh, you gotta wait a long time. Thanks, Bill. Let's go to... Hey, there's Peg there. Whoopee.
Mr. Acuna, whoever you are, it's delicious, absolutely lovely. Now, how are you feeling and everything? Number three, Does port age in the bottle once it's poured into the bottles, or does it only age in the cask?
Excuse me, this port?
Yes.
Well,
No, any port. Once it's in the bottle, it doesn't get any better, does it? The way wine does.
yes, port can be matured in a cask, in a bulk.
But not in the bottle. It does
can
not
be-
mature in the bottle, does it?
In a bottle, yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yes.
Number one, is Oporto on the sea? Is it a port?
Yes, it's a seaport in the Douro River.
Thank you. Now, number two, what kind of wood are the casks made of?
Wood.
Wood. But what kind of wood? A wood from ash or oak? I mean, is it no special wood?
No, mainly oak.
Mainly oak. And
Thank you, Peggy. Orson?
The famous monk who made this remark about opening the heart and liberating thought said it just before falling into a vat and fermenting to death. I remember the incident. Number two, what is the difference between wine and alcohol, booze, alcoholic booze, basically?
Wine, the wine is the natural fermentation,
Right.
and the alcohol is a distilling procedure.
Well, number one, why do they say that wine is alive? Why do they say that? As opposed to a spiritus fermenti. Why is wine alive? Is that to do with the fact that it continues
Because
to age?
it's not burned
Yeah.
like any distilled product.
Well, if you took a half gallon of Gallo with a screw-top lid and left it under the sink for a few years, would it get better or worse?
Of what?
Half gallon of Italian Swiss colony. One of our better wines in America.
Possibly worse.
Worse, that's it. Possibly.
Kitty Carlisle? Hey there, girl.
I don't want to ask any questions. I just want to keep drinking. Number three. Portuguese is spoken in Portugal. Where else is it spoken?
Well, in Brazil,
And number two, how much would the oldest bottle of port wine cost?
It's hard to say because
Well,
roughly, for instance, that bottle of 80-90 port would retail pretty much between $30 and $40 in this country.
Number one, what kind of climate it makes the best port? Why do you say it has a special climate? Does it have a lot of sun or what?
No, it's schist mostly.
What?
Schist. Schist.
Seasons?
Schist stone, you know.
No, I don't know.
Have another drink.
Phrase another question. Happy New Year, Kitty. And that's all the time we have for questions at this moment. Time's come for us to vote. And we will vote for one, or we'll vote for two, or we'll vote for 12. The way things are going, who knows? We pay $50 for each wrong vote. We pay $500 in the unlikely event that all the votes are wrong. And Bill Cullen, commence.
You know, Gary, I figured if that's $35 dollars a bottle, you gave me about a nickel's worth. Did you notice that?
That's $1.25 anyhow.
I know this is a low-budget show, and for that reason, I voted for number two. He looked knowledgeable on the questions that the other fellas were answering, so I voted for number two. He looks like a port man to me.
Okay, thanks, Bill. That takes us to Peggy.
well, when I said what kind of wood, he said wood. Number one laughed. It was everybody knows it's the rare wood of the, I don't know what. But anyway, it's probably from the old English fleet or something. I voted for one.
This is kind of interesting to see how the panel frequently votes not on what is said, but on the reaction of the people who are not being questioned at the time. Orson?
Oh, I love this stuff. I could very readily change my life and begin having this stuff a great deal. You may find me down on the Bowery wiping off the windshield of your car soon. Thank you. I voted for number two. I think that he has the look of a businessman. He has a rather patrician air about him, like he comes from a fine old family that's been making this stuff for 10, 12 years.
Oh, all right, there's one vote for one and two for two, and Kitty.
I voted for number three because I think he pronounced his name in the real Portuguese accent.
Okay, well, this seems to be a matter of wild conjecture. Let's find out about it. Will the real João de Brito e Cunha please stand up? Good girl, Kitty.
I was once engaged to a
Thank you, sir. Let's check out your imposters, who are both quite good. Number one, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is João Bastos, and I am an advertising and sales promotion writer for American corporations operating in Portugal and Brazil.
And number two, you got two wrong votes, sir. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Arnold Santos, and I'm vice president of Makeley's Incorporated, wholesaler book dealers.
Nice to have you. Senor de Brito y Cunha, there seems to be, I am told, an art, or at least a skill, in decanting a bottle. What is difficult about it?
Well, you know, where the port wine bottles,
Yes.
when Porto is very old, has a sediment. And as so, we must be very careful decanting it, you see.
Yes.
Because if you move the bottle, it can spoil all the wine. I don't say spoil. You must wait some time more to decant it.
I understand that, sir. I'll be careful next time. Next time I'll spend $35 for a bottle. Thank you, sir, very much, and imposters, for being with us on To Tell the Truth. By the way, Senor de Brito y Cunha has requested that his share of the prize money be donated to the American Cancer Society. No connection, I'm quite sure, but that was his wish and it will be observed. Now, by way of introducing our next guest, I would like you to take a look at some really rather dazzling film. Take a peek down here. You're not going to see water skiing like this very often in your life. Whoops!
Wow.
I don't dare guess at the length of that jump. Maybe we can ask questions about it later, but we'll meet the young lady who just doesn't know the meaning of the word distress in just a moment, as soon as we have a few commercials. Hey, you talk about cute. Let's take time out here to greet our winsome water skier.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Liz Allen.
Number two.
My name is Liz Allen.
Number three.
My name is Liz Allen.
And they're all so demure. All right, here is Liz Allen's affidavit. I, Liz Allen, am the women's world champion water skier. Competing on Denmark's Lake Bogsvard against top skiers from 22 different nations, I finished first in jumping, trick skiing, and slalom. I was captain of the American team, the first time a female had been so honored. Currently, I hold the world record for the longest jump on water skis by a woman, a distance of 110 feet. In addition, I'm the only person to have won the illustrious Masters Championship 4 times in a row. And when I was only 14, I managed to win the overall World Championship. But perhaps that wasn't too surprising. You see, I had been skiing since I was 5 years old. Signed, Liz Allen. And let's start the questioning with the gentleman who rarely loses his balance, Orson Bean.
Number one, a point of information, nothing to do with the spot. Does that zipper zip all the way down, or is that
It zips part way.
part way down? Oh, a clever ruse. Number three, what's the earliest you can remember water skiing? How old were you when you got up on those things?
I think I remember learning water skiing when I was on one ski.
Yeah, well, I mean, was it a week ago Thursday or when?
Oh, that's when I was about 7.
Yeah, number two, how about you? How old were you when you got
When I was 5.
5 years old. Now, why is it that when I try to water ski, my arms wrench out of their sockets and I go around looking like an ape for about 3 days? The arms lengthen, but I can see little 5-year-olds doing it. What am I doing wrong?
Maybe you weren't given the right instructions. My father taught me.
Well, all right. Number one, what do you feel like when you're up there? Is it a similar feeling to land skiing? Have you ever done land skiing?
No, I haven't. I've only done water skiing.
Have you ever done any of the fancy things like going up with a parachute and stuff?
Yes, once or twice I have.
Is it wild?
And that's a
Yeah,
tough
it's
one.
great.
Let's go to Kitty.
Well, I'll follow that. Number one, how do you feel when you're going up in the parachute? And what is that called, by the way?
It's called kite flying, and we're attached by a kite, and the faster the boat goes, the higher up we go. And like we could go to 100, 150 feet.
Well, how do you get down?
Oh, the boat slows down and you just slowly go
You
into the
sink
water.
down into the water.
Right.
Number 3, were you taught by your father?
Yes, ma'am.
And what does he do?
You mean in teaching me?
No, I mean in general.
Oh, he's just a retired colonel.
Ah, but he knew about water skiing.
No, he doesn't know how to ski.
Oh, well, number 2, did your father teach you?
Yes,
Well, how did he teach you without knowing how to water ski?
My father can water ski.
Oh, your father can water ski.
And Bill Cullen?
Number 2, your distance was 100 feet, I believe. What is the top distance for the men's championship?
161 feet.
Number 1, how fast was the boat going that pulled you for this jump?
It was going 40 miles an hour.
I don't think this has been asked of 2 or 3, so I'll ask it of number 3. Have you ever land skied, number 3?
No, sir.
Number 2, have you land skied?
No, I haven't.
Number 2, I'll stay with you for a moment. What type of skiing do they do in Acapulco that is different than ordinary skiing and attracts a lot of attention?
They do the kite flying skiing.
The kite?
The kite skiing.
Number 3, where do they do the parachute type skiing as opposed to the kite?
I don't know.
Number 1, do you know where they do the parachute type skiing?
No, I don't.
How long, number 3, had you been skiing before you switched over to one ski? You do start with 2 skis, don't you? Number 3?
Sometimes, yes.
Did you start with... Thank you.
Okay, and that takes us to Peggy, please.
Number 1, in Denmark, did you use 1 or 2 skis?
It depended on what I was doing.
In the slalom, what did you
I
use?
used 1 ski.
Thank you. Number 3, you said you can first remember being on 1 ski at the age of 7. What time did, how old were you when your parents said they put you on 2 skis? Because 1 ski comes after 2. How old was
I was 5.
5 when they really got you out there in the water? My. Number 2, do you take off from a dock when you do championship skiing, or do you just take off from the water?
From the water.
Thank you. Number 2, have you ever skied in your bare feet?
Yes, I have.
Number 2, who does your hair? It looks great.
It's a wig.
Oh.
That's really Paul Alter, our director.
Number 1, do they have skiing in the Olympics?
No, they don't, but they may in 1972.
Will you be too old by then?
I may be. I'm trying to.
Too bad for that poor old lady over there. It is time for us to vote. Let us make up our minds between number 1, number 2, or number 3. $50 for each incorrect vote, $500 if none of them is right. And Orson, commence, if you will.
Please, sir, I want some more. I voted for number 1. She's adorable, and she looks like a real pro that knows what she's talking about. I guess she's not a pro, but anyway, she sounds like she really can cut the mustard.
Okay, Kitty.
I'm with Orson. I voted for number 1. She looks like a real athlete.
Oh, 2 for 1. And what does Bill Cullen say?
Well, I was all set to vote for somebody else until number 1 said she was wearing a wig, and number 2. Number 3 and 1 don't look like they're wearing a wig, and I should think a water skier, just for convenience, would have short hair. And because of that, I voted for number 2. I voted for her hair. Whatever's under that wig is what I voted for.
A difference of opinion we have here, and that takes us down to Peggy.
Well, if you're in the water all the time, it stands to reason that your hair would be always wet, so you'd naturally have to go out and buy a wig. So that's why I voted for her. And besides, she represented America, and look at her bathing suit. It's practically the flag.
And there you go. All the votes are in, and we have 2 for 1 and 2 for 2 and none for 3. So will the real Liz Allen please stand up? Nice going, Liz. Great. $500 it cost us because we stumped the panel totally. Yep. Number 1, you got 2 wrong votes. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Merle Pinkwater, and I'm employed by John Owen Fruit Chippers in Miami, and I've never skied.
Never skied. Number 2, you got 2 wrong votes. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Jan Kroba. I'm from Clearwater, Florida, and I'm a stewardess for Pan American.
Liz, one thing I'd like to get straightened out. You did say that your father taught you to ski.
Yes.
And then you said he does not know how to ski.
No, we...
How's that possible?
Well, I started skiing on you might say, a trial and error method, and it's just what we both learned. Like, if I fell a certain way, we says, well, maybe try it this way. And then through the years, my father's talked to other champions, and that's how he's, grown.
Oh, you sort of learned together, you
Right.
mean? Oh, I see. All right, it clears that up. Well, now, by the way, why are all the tricks that you do done on the shorter skis as opposed to the longer ones?
It's for more flotation because you need more flotation on the wake because of a slower speed, which is 17 miles an hour. And also, it's better for turning, quicker turns. You only do 17 tricks
More
in 20
maneuverability,
seconds.
huh?
Yeah.
Well, we have some marvelous film here, and I suggest that we roll it, Paul. And Liz, if you'll describe what's happening to us here, just let's go with the film and see what happens here.
This is at Cypress Gardens, Florida, and this is a trick run in which you do 17 tricks or more within 20 seconds. And that's almost a trick a second. And here are some step overs. And here I'm starting my run now, my second run. I'll do a Waco and then a Waco reverse, then a wake back, and then a front and a back, and then a wake front, and then 2 surface 360s. And then I start my toe tricks, a toe wake back, and a toe wake front, toe back, toe front, then a toe side slide, which is held for 2 seconds. And then I wrap again for a toe 360.
Gee, that's great. Thank you very much, Liz Allen, and thank you, other ladies, for being here with us on To Tell the Truth. You're adorable, all of you. Well, like the man says, all good things must come to an end. We trust that we are one of the pleasanter things in your life from time to time. We'll see you tomorrow. Panel, shall we foregather then?
All righty. What are we going to have to drink?
Ripple with the ring-a-ding flavor.
Promotional consideration provided by American Airlines. Traveling on business or traveling for fun, it's good to know you're on American Airlines. Hotel accommodations, courtesy of Delmonico's Hotel on Fashionable Park Avenue, ideal for gracious living. Visit famous Delmonico's restaurant for superb continental cuisine. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.